Rebecca Woods, Energy Intuitive, and this is the weekly energy report for week beginning the 15th of June. So what has this week got in store for us all? The big thing I'm seeing at the moment is that we may find that our confidence is being rocked a bit. So confidence in self, confidence in others. So the people that kind of rule, anything to do with rule, authority, there's a lot of uprisings around the world at the moment. People are protesting. I think I touched on this last week, but this week it's going to get more intense. There's an intensity that I feel is building. It's like people want to be heard, really want to be heard. They're searching within themselves. They're trying to find within themselves for all these years, for however long you've been born, and it's got to an accumulation point now where it's like frustration, irritation, and it's like the craziness of it all is too much. So it's almost like I've got to unburden this. I've got to let go in some way. So people will be wanting to let go, but won't necessarily know which avenue to, channel that energy down. In what way do we do it? Do we do it aggressively? Do we do it quietly? Do we sit and suffer any longer? There's this kind of edge around people not wanting to put up with anything any longer because we've been suffering long enough. So that's individually, regardless of your circumstances. So you could have been in a marriage or relationship for years and years, and you've been, let's just say the quiet husband getting on doing the stuff, and all of a sudden it's like breaking point. Something is going to make you want to shift your energy and just scream and shout, or just take yourself away. So there's this kind of want to run, want to hide, want to be seen, don't want to be seen. So it's kind of like a whole mix of energies. It's confusing from a kind of, as I see it, energetic point of view. It's like, you pulled one of those blankets and everything's been sort of chucked up in the air. So when you come back down, it's like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what I'm going to find, but wanting to find something different. So there's an energy of wanting to move forward, an energy of wanting change, things to look forward to, not putting up with anymore. It's really getting collectively, the pot is well and truly stirred. And as I said, it's being chucked up in the air. So this week, I think the main thing to really keep yourself grounded and focused is to get out in nature. And sport, any form of sport where you can, burn off energy, anything that's, so if you're going walking, maybe walk a bit faster than you normally would. It's almost like breathing, being asked to, or kind of like asking yourself, what can I let go of? What can I ultimately forgive? There's something about forgiveness this week as well. And with that, I'm really, and have been for the last couple of weeks or longer actually, really picking up on Jesus energy or the Christ consciousness energy. Now, I'm not particularly, I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, I'm just me living my life. But, there are energies that work with us. And right now I feel very strongly the energy of Jesus. And his energy is very much about forgiveness. And I think it starts with self. So forgiving the self for putting up with that relationship for all the years, forgiving the leaders of the world for not, doing what you would perceive as the right thing or maybe the wrong thing. It's just being able to look at things and forgive. So I'd make some kind of mantra. I make some kind of breathing mantra where you breathe in for one, and then I forgive. Even if you don't know what you're forgiving, then you kind of like breathe out and forgive. I'm just forgiving. I'm forgiving, starting with self. I'm forgiving myself. The act of this basically is just you're just letting go, and any thing right now about surrender, letting go, not blaming, not looking at anyone else to blame, because there's going to be examples of people wanting to put people up to blame. I mean, I know there's a lot, not that I particularly watch the news or anything, but have heard and seen the statues being pulled down. People have said to me, have you seen these statues being pulled down? And, you know, that's what I mean about, you know, blaming someone. And whilst they may have good reason to, and maybe those facts are true, I think this is allowing us to do is forgive. Just being able to forgive and open our hearts as Jesus Christ would, because he's all about love. So opening our hearts, love, forgiving those that have wronged us, or we think where we've wronged ourselves, and just being able to, you know, breathe through this. And I think this is really, really important. So breathing through it, because we will be challenged. We definitely will. The other positive thing we can do is focus on what I call visualizing. Visualizing, what is the outcome of all of this? How do you want it to be? All right, so that's going to be really important, is keeping your focus on how you want things to be, or acting as if, obviously, as if they're already happening, and what does it feel like if they're already happening. Now, I talk about this a lot in my videos and things, I'm not going to go into it, but it's basically you're acting as if you've already got the outcome you want, and that's going to feel good. So any feelings and any thoughts that make you feel good. So that's really the other thing is about there's a lot of kind of these collective energies that I was talking about joining up with people. Now, there are going to be people that are joining up, and these protests and things are going to continue. But if there's an element of, why am I joining with someone? So ask the question, what is the reason? What is the purpose? And what is the purpose? What are we going to achieve? So have an outcome. If it's peace that you're looking for, or to be heard, or some form of resolution, then it's like, what's that resolution going to feel like when we group? Yeah, okay, so you're taking the energy with you. And, you know, there's the thing that everything is created by our thoughts, by our actions, and how we feel. But we, you know, as creators of our experience, do the energy work first. So imagine it how you want it to be, you know, and then being able to know that your outcome is going to happen. It's when we don't know. It's when we go into things and we just start something, whatever it is, whether it's a project, or we join a group, or, you know, anything really. It's like, why are you doing it? What is the outcome you want from it? Because if you don't know, it's like, you know, going down a street and keep driving and driving. You've got no map, you don't know where you're going. So it's really important that you focus on finding the reason why you're doing something. And that also bring it back to self, because then you can start this self-questioning, which I'm always, you know, talking about, is like, question yourself. Does it feel good? Do I want to do it? So that's the theme of this week. I'm going to keep it reasonably brief and reasonably short, because I think being able to take a step back and breathe and ask what's the outcome of this, is going to basically predict whether or not how we get involved in something, or whether we choose to spend some time in nature or with ourselves. But either way, there's a lot of change that is going to be happening. We've got an eclipse season. We've started the first one last month, and we're already now coming up for the second one. There's full moons. There's all sorts of things going on. So, you know, astrology wise, because I don't know astrology, but I tune to the energy of it, same as I do with earth energies, and pick up on it. And it's like really quite intense at the moment. So keeping a sense of self is going to be really good, and focusing on what do I want, and not being too caught up in what you hear or read about from others, because it's really ultimately it's just their experience, and it doesn't mean that it's yours. In fact, it doesn't have to be. That's where that self-appraisal comes in. One thing I'd like to do is pick one of my cards here, and see what the energies. It's an Ascended Master card, so let's see. Oh, one's flown out already, so didn't even need to. Okay, so this is really good. It's positive change. That's the card. Paravati, I think it's pronounced Paravati. Okay, so lovely. So there's something here about being aware, the divine feminine, and speaking, like our real truth. It's kind of gut truth, it's heart, but it's real gut. It's like our truth. This is our truth. So being able to anyone, if you can have counselling, talk to anyone, really talking things out, sharing. I think because this is it's really an inspirational card. It's about looking within and then sharing it. That's what I'm getting from this card. So if we all do that and it's our truth, then it's right for us and it's right for everybody else. It means that collective, we're all working in the same way towards the same thing, because if it's right for you, then it's right for everyone. It's our own ultimate truth, which with this card is bringing positive change. So positive change within ourselves. It may seem, when you stop and think about it, how far we've come in the thousands of years that we as human beings have been on this planet. There's something right now that is anchoring in, and it's anchoring to say it's an accumulation of all of that. And I'm picking up as time is moving really, really fast. Last week and the week before just flew by. This week I'm getting the same feeling. So it's about time, and that's it. It's about time that this positive change came in. The other thing I just wanted to mention was I put a post up on Facebook on my Energy Intuitive page, which was, what would you most like to ask God? So I think now is a really good time. We were talking about expression and deep within. What is that burning question deep within? If you could ask God, if you had that one question, what would you ask? So think about that. Maybe it's why is all this stuff going on? But bring it back to self. Why is it happening to me? And the reason being that I'm saying that is because you want to find your answer. It's not a global answer. It's not for everybody else. Maybe your answer answers everybody else's question. But it's like you're looking for it for yourself. And then when we've got it for ourselves, we can then share it with others, our truth. Doesn't mean it's someone else's, but it means we have the answer. And when we do that, we can move forward. So that's what is happening at the moment. Everybody's wanting everybody else to answer all the questions. It's they've got to answer it, or we've got to march and answer it. And that's okay. But it's like, what is the truth for us? And when we find our truth, we can then share it with others. So I think ultimately this is what it's about this week. There's this sense of kind of unrest of who's going to make the next move, who's going to do what, and how are they going to do it? Are we agreeing with that? Are we following on for it? But as I said, the only way really is ultimately to know how you feel. And then collectively, that will almost always come back to love. When we love ourselves enough. So ask God. Know that we have the presence of Jesus, which is the way that we connect with God. That's part of the human plan, the blueprint. And that brings us closer to it. So amazing energy this week, isn't it? Really powerful energy of reminding ourselves of where we're from and using the resources we have, which is Jesus and God, to find out more about our God self, who we are. Enjoy this week. See you next week.